All right, psychology. It's been a little bit since I made one of these episodes. Well, not a huge amount of time, like a week. But so project therapy. It's I think in this episode I should preface that I'm not trying to analyze a philosophical concept that I've either thought about or heard about and consequently thought about. But instead, this time, because psychologists are oftentimes also therapists, I thought I would discuss a therapeutic practice which I have found to be effective, and I think discuss why I think it's that way effective. That is. And that's project therapy, and project therapy is therapy which is accomplished through doing stuff. That's basically what it is. You do stuff, and so I think it could be applied to working out your problems, but I think it's therapy more in the method of active therapy rather than point therapy, I guess that you could say. It's something which helps you maintain your sanity rather than fix any particular problem. Although I think it could do that but that would have to be in a situation where you set a project. You're gonna build a shed. You need a shed, you're gonna build a shed. You're not gonna go buy a shed. It's gonna cost about the same to build a shed, and it's gonna take 10 times longer, but you wanna build a shed and you'll be proud of it at the end, you know it. So, you decide to build this shed. While I think the therapy actually comes in at working out whatever problem you're trying to work out at the time, will come in at actively working on the thing. Once you're finished, though, the idea is, especially if it took long enough and it took enough effort, that it would be that you would have worked through the problem. You're forcing yourself to connect that problem and that shed, as it were. So we'll say, it could be an extreme problem. Say you're getting divorced, but it doesn't have to be. But we'll go with the divorce example. You're getting divorced. You don't want to get divorced, or maybe you don't like the person anymore, really, at least not in the same way, but you never thought it was a divorce-worthy thing. Apparently the other person did. So you're working through a divorce. The idea is that building this shed that you need to build will take you long enough time, ideally like a month or more, so that when you are finished with it, you will be able to drop whatever that thing is that you're thinking about. So, on the other hand, that's what I think of as active, I don't want to call it passive, but we'll call it point therapy, or I don't know, what's a good name for it? So it's project therapy, but it's maybe single project therapy? Yeah, go with that. Single project therapy to work out a single problem you've got. And then what I'm going to call active project therapy, which is that you take on an ongoing project which will either never be done, or even when it is done, it's going to require active maintenance. So that's the kind of thing where you take it to either maintain your sanity, or even better, become more sane, and be able to maintain that state of increased sanity, which would hopefully help you. It's a thing to accomplish constantly, and it's more about the doing of it than the finishing of it, as it would be with the shed and the divorce idea. And that is it's why I originally started the vlogs, although I ended up giving up the vlogs and switching over to a more active role, but less planned out, or less scheduled role with this channel. I did something similar with the journal, but that's what I recommend. Journal, I think, is not easy, but a solid place to start. Grab a journal, write what happens to you. If you can't do it on a daily basis, I don't recommend starting out with a daily basis, because that gets annoying, but at least do a weekly basis. or maybe every 3 days you agree that you're going to write down what's happened in the last 3 days. Although honestly, if you can, I recommend doing it every day, because doing it every day is really simple. I'd say 5 out of 6 days you're just writing like, today was fine, nothing really happened, I tired, good night. That's your entry for the 27th of March or whatever random day it happens to be. So I recommend doing something like that. That's what I would call active project therapy. It's the project of keeping the journal, and it's to maintain, or if you can, increase your sanity. Now you might be thinking, where would the accomplishment come from? Where would the sense of accomplishment come from something like this? And I can tell you, filling up the book, or getting, like you pick up, I'm not talking about a tiny little book, although if you want, you can just go with a 70-page notebook. It's whatever floats your boat. But I recommend sort of, I don't know how to say, it's smaller than the normal notebooks. They're like, I'm not good at saying in pure inches, but something which is thick and smaller than a regular notebook, maybe even a pocket-sized thing if that's what you want, but really thick in terms of number of pages. So that way you can feel good and say, you can, in fact, if you grab a pocket-sized thing, even if you don't fill up the entire page, you might want to just go each page. This is the page of the March 27th or whatever day, again, happens to be. It's not even March. I don't know why I keep going to March. It's the accomplishment comes from seeing that every time you write in the journal, you realize this journal is going to eventually get completed. You're going to fill up this journal with just your activities. You do stuff. Even if most of the stuff you do is like, today's day at work didn't suck, or I finished that thing I was working on at work, or it's going to, adult life tends to revolve a lot around work, but like that project we were working on for the boss worked out, and he said he's really proud of us and that our team was working well, that kind of stuff. And even if your journal is just filled up with that kind of stuff, saying like, we're making good progress on Project X or Project Y, and Project Z isn't doing well, but it's being replaced with Project Z2. So that kind of stuff. You fill up your journal with that. It's kind of pointless, and there's no point in anyone, not even really you, reading it. But it's the fact that you're filling it up with your life that will, I think, maintain or improve sanity. So I think that's an important thing. So, project therapy. Hope this helps someone stay sane.